tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people, but the silence over that by the good people. Martin Luther King Jr. The reason we're all here today is to discuss the troubles our country has faced for years. Dr. King delved into a series of inequities that this country faced in the 1960s. There was blatant racism and segregation, which he sought to reduce. But I'm not here to talk about the discrimination people face because that should already be evident. I'm here to talk about the silence. Silence which we conform to because no one else decides to speak. Silence which is a bystander that pulls up their phones to record police brutality instead of doing something about it. Silence which we accept because we believe there is nothing more that we can do, and yet there is. We are students. We are sons and daughters and loved ones. We are members of our community. We are Hispanics and Muslims and Jews, Native Americans, African Americans. We are children of the diaspora. We need to stop falling victims to our own inaction and end the silence that has hurt the people of this country for decades. Our country is the biggest melting pot in the entire world, and yet we allow those with authority to suppress other races and ethnicities because they're different. We are told we can't be as good as the better race, and we believe it. This self-fulfilling prophecy is where problems are taking their toll, and yet the silence remains. There are parents telling their kids to lift their windows and lock their doors because they're in the ghetto, not because the neighborhood's unsafe. Minorities are oppressing themselves, and politicians only make it worse. There are leaders with xenophobic ideals wanting to kick out the people that expand our country's culture. Hispanics and Muslims are told they cause nothing but trouble, but yet statistically, out of the 29 acts of terror committed after the attacks on 9/11, 22 of them were committed by white, right-wing extremists. Mass shootings in schools cause paranoia, and all politicians do is further their political agenda. And yes, I'm not old enough to vote, nor are most of the people that I go to school with, and yet at least half of them are more politically aware than those of the adults we know. We are silenced by the system. Whenever we try to share our opinions, we are told they don't matter because we are not of age, as if being of age is a stamp that labels us fit to have an opinion that matters. Teachers are victims of this too. They aren't allowed to share their opinions because they then compromise our beliefs, but that's the problem. Teachers should be allowed to speak their minds because when people in power want to end public schooling, it must be shared that the best education comes not from the fancy textbooks and buildings available in private schools, but by the effort public school teachers put in to make sure their kids become successful. They work hard so we too have the voice necessary to improve our country. Our voices are silenced because we aren't expected to know too much of what has to change. We are the generation of students that are going to change our country, but we can only do so by speaking together. Everything we face has to be overcome. Dr. King diminished segregation and brought brief transparency to the justice system. Similarly, we need to stand up to those who think we don't have a voice, because as we work together, we make our voices more significant. As we work together, we are more likely to make change happen. We started the Black Lives Matter and Muslim reform movements, as well as a positive LGBTQ+ community. We removed women's suffrage and made equal voting opportunities for all. Whenever we see or hear things we know are not right, we have to speak up. The fear that has loomed over our country is fear that can be ended. Whether it's voting in the next election, becoming more politically aware, or something as simple as appreciating all of the work teachers put in for their students, these changes will happen. Those who speak up are the ones making the most change, and all we need are those who aren't. Those who are silent shall remain silent no more, and as we work together, we too shall overcome. Thank you.